have one. How's everyone doing today? All right, well, I like hearing that. Who's ready for Christmas? I see a lot of everyone here today. Looks like we are ready. Is everyone doing their Christmas shopping too? Who hasn't started yet at all? Yeah. Other than like a random one or two itty bitty little things throughout the year, that's been about it. So, speaking of Christmas, of course, we have a wonderful event coming up on the 22nd. You guys, a lot of you have already filled out your invite cards. That's the 5 people that you are going to invite. If you haven't done it already, please make sure you do it. Now remember, these aren't people that live in Canada. These aren't people that live in California. These are people that actually live here that can actually physically be in this service, okay? And we don't want to steal them from another church. Remember, if they're happy where they're at, we're going to let them be and let them support their own church. But if you know that they're starving where they're at, invite them out. Invite them out, definitely, okay? So if you haven't done that already, you will be doing that today. We're going to be passing them out again. We have more of the invite cards, the ones that you guys write your name on, and you give them to the people that you wrote down on that top 5 list. Okay, so make sure you take some of those home, you put your name on them, and you can give them out. And it doesn't have to be just those 5. If you know more people than just those 5, you can take more. And because we have plenty that we were able to print out for you guys, okay? I know Pastor had a very special prayer request this morning. There's a gentleman that he knows from the Fly Club. He's dealing with some kind of cancer. Not 100% sure what it is, but we know he's going through chemo for it, and it's really hitting him pretty hard. So Pastor asked for a special prayer for him this morning. Diane is out sick. She just had gotten over pneumonia, but she's still really trying to recover from that. So we'll make sure we keep her in prayer too. And Steven is in the hospital. It doesn't sound like it's anything really serious, but you know hospital trips are no fun. So we just pray for a speedy recovery for him today too. I think that is all. The Christmas is the big event that we're worried about, so we're not worried. We're not worried, right? It's going to be a great event. So let's go ahead and stand to our feet, and we will go ahead and get this party started, right? Lord, we just come to you this morning, so grateful for another day that we get together and be in your presence, God. We're just so grateful that we get to lift up your name and just sing our praises to you and show you how much we love you, God. We just call out a few people today, God, that are dealing with just something that is serious, something simple, Father God. We just lift them up to you and call their names out to you, God, that they would just receive that speedy healing, Father God, and miraculous healing that they need. And it would be just a further testimony of your love and your graciousness, Father God. We just pray for a special anointing over today's service, Father God, that Pastor Bill's word would be delivered and precise and to the hearts of everyone that needs to hear it today, Father God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Till I
Break down the wall, push back the dark light of the world, move in our hearts. There's a stirring in the spirit, heaven, something holy, can you feel it? Heaven, let your glory and your power, let your majesty and word flood the earth, flood the earth. Let the rulers of your kingdom, let your name without reserve flood the earth, flood the earth. Freedom is here, fear has to leave, pain has to go, darkness retreat. Every heart here finding healing, heaven. In this moment, you're revealing, heaven. Let your glory and your power, let your majesty and word flood the earth, flood the earth. Let the rumors of your kingdom, let your name without reason flood the earth, flood the earth. Let your glory and your power, let your majesty and word flood the earth, flood the earth. Let the rumors of your kingdom, let your name without reason flood the earth, flood the Oh, come and flood the earth this morning, Jesus. Come and flood our hearts this morning. Break down the walls, push back the dark light of the world, move in our hearts, heaven, flood the earth. Break down the walls, push back the dark light
have it all. My heart is yours, it's all yours. You won't breathe it until you have it all. My heart is yours. I'm sick. There's a sin upon my heart. There's a sin upon my heart. There is love. It is as strong as death. Jealousy demanding not to break. When you are yours, then our precious love. You won't breathe in until you have it all. My heart is yours. Oh, we give it all to you. You won't breathe in until you have it all. My heart is yours. Yeah. You won't breathe in until you have it all. My heart is yours. I'm giving it all to you. You won't breathe in until you have it all. Oh, we cry out to you. Oh, this is all for you, Jesus. Oh, we let it all go this morning. Cry out to you this morning. Oh, it's all for you this morning. We lift up our worship to you, Jesus. Oh, we lift up a new song this morning. Oh, we're stepping into the new this morning. Oh, we declare a shifting. We declare a changing. Oh, we declare the new this morning. We're holding nothing back from you. Holding nothing back from you, God. Yeah, yeah. Oh, we let it all go. We let it all go. feel within my belly a moving as if ready to give birth. And there are growing pains. And these growing pains are for the church. The enemy has come in to attack, to steal, to kill, to destroy, to distract. Those are growing pains. Those are birthing pains. This church is now in birthing pains. And we might as well get ready because the birthing is coming. We are in the 9th trimester here in this church. And the pain has begun. We have got to get ourselves ready for what heaven will pour us out a blessing we cannot contain. These doors will fly open and people will come from north, south, east, and west into these walls. But if we're not ready, they won't stay. And then we'll be back to being pregnant again. Begin to speak the word over your home and over yourself to rebuke the devourer that will just come, steal, kill, and destroy anything in your home, and over this church body, and the leadership. Get ready, we're about to give birth.
My entire body is shaking.
Bless you, Lord.
I don't know what that was for, but I sure did like it. I sure did like it. You said more.
Thank you, Lord.
Said more.
Thank you, Jesus.
Said more.
Thank you, Lord. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Woo! Thank you for your presence, oh God. Thank you for your presence, oh God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for your presence, oh God. Thank you, oh God. Woo! Thank you for your anointing, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for your Holy Spirit raining down on us, God. Thank you, oh God. Thank you, Jesus. You're so wonderful, oh God. Yes, Lord. Thank you.
Pour out in this house. Pour out in this house. Would you pour out in
Yes,
this?
Lord. Yes,
Pour out in
Lord.
this entire house. Cover them, Lord,
Yes,
with your Holy
Lord.
Ghost. Cover them, Lord, with the power of God.
Yes,
Cover them, Father God, with the river.
yes.
Cover them over their heads, Father
Oh,
God.
yes, Lord. Oh,
Over
Lord,
their heads.
Lord. Yes, oh, Lord, Lord. Hallelujah. Pour out, oh God. Yes, more, more, God. Hallelujah. Thank you, oh God. Yeah, no, see. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Come on, church, don't get in a hurry. Press in. Thank you, Jesus.
I tell you, church, you are in the ninth hour. You are so close. You are so close. You are so close. Do not get tired. Do not get weary in well doing. Do not give up. Do not give up faith. I tell you, hold on. Hold on with everything within you. Hold on. The destroyer does come to steal, kill, and destroy, but I came to give life, and life more abundantly. Be thou as prepared to live the abundant life. I am opening the windows of heaven. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, I am pouring more out to you. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you. Oh, hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. prayed for so long are coming home.
Thank you. Thank you.
Even the ones that you have given up on.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. Lord. Thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you.
Y'all hear the word? Thank you, God. We were given something this morning. We were given a special gift. And you may not have received it, but it was given just the same. And I don't know if you experienced what I experienced when you were sitting in your seat. I don't know if you entered in, and you know, frankly, that's your business. But whatever was here this morning, and I know it was the Lord, whatever He poured out here this morning was something that will carry us through. Because there may be some bumps in the road coming. There may be some tough spots coming. And I'm not talking about for the church, because the church is in His hands. What's God got to do to get your attention? What's He need to do to draw you to get your heart? Holy Ghost was He was here this morning. And if this is just a little bit of what's coming, we're in trouble. Ain't none of us going to be able to stand it. None of us going to be able to stand it. I hesitate to preach my message this morning. But I believe that it needs to be preached, taught, more teached. Lord, I pray that whatever it was that you poured out, whatever supernatural gift that you poured out in this place this morning, that it saturate every single one of us in this room. that, Lord, even while they're at home tonight, sipping on a cup of coffee or sipping on a cup of tea or whatever they're doing tonight, Lord, that this would hit them and saturate their souls. I thank you for your precious gift. This morning's message is a night. Did we get one? Did we get it typed up? A night before Christmas. I'll be going to some scripture later if I get late to it. We've had several instances in the church in the past and one recently. And I want to teach some things, especially to the younger people that are coming up, or to those that are here that have never really served in leadership or want to. I want to teach this. I want you to hear my heart in all that I'm going to say. I'm kind of into knights. You know, chivalry and honor and character, and not like the knights that you might see sometimes portrayed evilly on television. I'm talking about the kind that will stand by the king to their death. How do we even go about preaching this? When little girls are growing up, they dream of the knight in shining armor. They want the handsome man to come along and treat them right and have his powerful horse that he's riding and all of his armor and all of his weaponry, and be the one that's going to defend their hearts. Young men look at the knights and they say, wow, I want to be like that. And they'll pick up swords when they're little and they'll practice to be the knight, and they'll carry their trash can lid and their stick, and they'll have fights out in the yard. You know, how do I know this? Because this is what we did. And knights weren't even something of our time. But the draw for that kind of honor and that kind of character and that kind of an appearance was something that young men wanted. And something that young ladies look to. Their fathers should be the knight in shining armor. For the young men, the father should be the knight in the shining armor. But sadly, it doesn't work that way all the time. So this morning I'm talking about a knight. K-N-I-G-H-T. And while everybody wants to be the knight, not very many people are willing to pay the price to be that knight. And it doesn't matter, ladies, I want you to hear me when I'm telling you this, young and old alike. You can't start out today and be the knight. There is a process to becoming a knight. What is the process? Well, truthfully, if you look at a knight, what does a knight do? What does a knight do? If you think about the medieval times and the times when they wore the armor, what did a knight do?
Defend the realm.
He defended the realm. You better believe it. He's defended the kingdom. He was the line of defense for the king's castle. He was the one on the horse that would charge out. He didn't care if there was 1,000 men out there. He would go after them. Alone if necessary. I was walking the dog the other day and I thought, you know, it's kind of interesting that, dogs don't care what the enemy looks like or how big he is. I watch our dog, and she goes, she don't care how big the dude is walking by the door. She don't care. She will flat run her face right into the glass door going after the person. I'm glad for her, because she's chasing people away from my door. But she's only this big. She's just little. And she charges after things that are 5-10 times her size. And she don't care. That is the heart of a knight. But it's more than just being reckless like that and charging after and not caring about your own life. There's more to it. See, a knight will take the time to plan and to strategize. And he knows his enemy and he studies his enemy. And he makes sure that his armor is on correctly. And when he gets up on that mighty steed, he makes sure that he's in the saddle before he charges off. Lest one of his feet gets stuck in a stirrup and the horse takes off and he's dragging down the road. Okay, there's more to being a knight than what we think. We think, we just jump up on that horse and somebody he got so lucky he just showed up one day and all of a sudden he's a knight and he's got all this pretty armor and stuff. That ain't how it works. Every knight that ever put on the armor, every single one paid a price to get that armor. And a lot of guys tried to get it but couldn't get it because they didn't qualify or they got killed in the process. See, there is a process. There's a process to being the Proverbs 31 woman. Hello?
Yes.
There's a process to being a pastor of a church. There is a process involved in becoming a worship leader. There is a process involved in becoming a teacher. There is a process involved in becoming anything that is in the church. You know where it starts out at? Nobody wants to hear this part. The only needs that learned. The process starts someplace else. You see, every knight was first a squire. Every knight that ever sat on a steed, that ever picked up a lance, that ever wielded a sword, that ever bared the shield of his nation, with the armor showing the sign of his king. Every single one started out as a scribe. Oh, but wait, there's more. He was a scribe before he was, or not a scribe, a squire before he was a knight. So what did the squire do? Think about this for a second. What was a squire? Y'all know anything about knights?
It's like a stable hand or something, right?
Sort of. The squire was the armor bearer. The squire was the one who took care of the horse for the knight. He made sure that that horse was taken care of, that everything was getting done, everything that was not important. See, the knight spent his time studying his enemy and strategizing and talking with the other knights to figure out what's going on and how they're going to go about doing things. See, the knight's vision was higher. He was up on top of the table looking down and saying, okay, I see the enemy. I see what's going on. How are we going to take care of the problem? And he would meet up with the other knights and they would strategize and come together with a plan. See, the knight that's what his job was. He had a different vision, a different point of view than the squire. The squire's job was to watch the knight, to learn from the knight, but also to take care of everything that was unimportant so that the knight could get on his horse and go when he needed to. The armor was polished. The squire would check all the, when Elizabeth went riding on her horse, there was a saddle involved. Well, you don't just throw the stupid saddle up on the horse, go for a ride. There's a half-hour process just putting the saddle up on the horse, tying him down, making sure everything's safe to go. Elizabeth would go through and she would pull the girth belt, she would cinch it up nice and tight, and then she would leave it there for a little while, and the horse would exhale, she'd tighten it up some more, and she'd go through and she'd check her stirrups, she would check her saddle, make sure everything was okay, she would check her reins, the bit was in the horse's mouth, the bridle was on, and everything was taken care of. What would happen one time if one piece of equipment failed? The knight is dead. If one piece of equipment fails on a rider or on a horse, the saddle can fly off. Your reins can be sitting in your hands. You got no way to steer the horse. This was the job of the squire. The knight depended on the squire. The knight needed the squire to do his job. The knight was there, and everybody looked at the knight, but nobody looked at the squire. There's no glory in being a squire. There's no glory in being a squire. Everybody wants to be the teacher, but nobody wants to be the one that helps the teacher. Everybody wants to be in the limelight, but few want to take the time to study to get there and do what it takes to get there. Look, anybody can stand up here and get into the light. Anybody can. But few are willing to pay the price to give God the glory while they're standing. Few are willing to stand up there and not point the finger at themselves, but point the finger at the anointing of God. Few. So the scribe makes sure the equipment's ready to go. He makes sure the horse is ready to go. When the knight comes off his mighty steed and gets down, he's there to be a strong arm to help the knight down. That arm is heavy. Tell me the armor weighed 100 pounds. Let me ask you a question. How are you going to do with 100 pounds sitting on your shoulders? That's a lot of weight. I got some fertilizer in the back. I grabbed a couple of bags. We can test it out. Y'all want to try it? Ellen goes to the grocery store. She buys these 50-pound bags of dog food. They're almost as big as Elizabeth. She's got to get help to get them out. She can't carry it out of the store herself. So she gets somebody to help her. Well, that's the scribe, or a squire. That's what the squire does. The squire takes care of things like that. But let me ask you a question. How does a squire get to be a squire? There's only one way you get to be a squire. Just like there's only one way to become a knight. If you're going to become a knight, you have first got to be a squire. But if you're going to be a squire, you must first be a page. A page was a young man, usually around 10 or 12 years old. And that young man, as he was growing up, he would tote the water buckets for the horse. He would clean the stall out for the horse. He would do the laundry for the squire and for the knight. He would take care of all the menial tasks that listen, I need a bucket of water. I need a drink. Who was the one that went and got it? The page went and got it. The page was in that position for one reason and one reason only. To learn servanthood. Because in order for you to be the knight, you have to understand that you serve something stronger and bigger than you are. Y'all get this? Are you hearing this?
Amen.
I sat and I watched yesterday a man who absolutely is a knight. And he lets the king walk around and he lets the king do what he needs to do. Takes care of the needs of the king. He takes care of the need. This man literally will get there before anybody else. He'll stay and he'll make sure that the pastor has everything that the pastor needs. God's truth. I was told this man, when he first met the pastor, had a super hard heart. He'd been wounded. So he's very, very protected. So this man's got a hard heart. He comes and meets the pastor and a relationship develops. And so the end result of the relationship is that this man comes in early in the morning, makes sure that the pastor, when he arrives, is safe coming into the building, stays. He brings a washcloth for the pastor every service. And he places it on the pulpit. Nobody knows he's there even doing it. He just goes up, he places it there, he places a bottle of water there, make sure that the pastor's needs are taken care of. I'm just telling you, this is an example. When the service is over, he collects the trash, he collects the washcloth, takes the washcloth home, washes it, brings it back for the next service fresh. Every every single service. And he won't leave, and I witnessed it with my own eyes, he will not leave the church grounds until the pastor is in his truck and heading out. Then he gets in his and leaves. Am I telling you this is what I want you to know? That's not what I'm saying. I used to do this. I saw a pastor preaching in a pulpit. And sweat would pour out of his head while he was preaching. We keep it pretty cool in here, so we don't have to worry much about that. And it drips down my back, but face-wise, I'm okay. And I saw that he had a need, that there was something that needed to be taken care of for that man to do what he needed to do. There was a need that he had, and so I began to take a brand new handkerchief. And I began to place it on his pulpit before the service. Somebody else took care of the water part. But he needed something to wipe his face with. He was constantly wiping on the suit. You remember? This is what I'm talking about. See, in order for me to be where I'm at now, I had to pay a price before. I had to learn servanthood. Ellen and I would show up in the services before anybody else and make sure everything was opened up and ready to go. You know what we did after that? We worshiped God. We carried on. We served wherever we could. We were young. We couldn't just jump in and be a teacher. Couldn't just jump in and be an altar worker. I started out being an usher. We would go clean the toilets in the church after the service. Guess what we still do today? Where do you think the place gets cleaned up by itself? We got little elves come in here? Yeah, we got 3 little elves. Most of the time it's the 2 lady elves. The big elf gets to take care of the heavy work outside. And even Elizabeth was out there helping this week. Some of the flower beds got weed. Why am I telling you this? The more you step up, the more of a servant's heart you have to have. And if you don't have enough of a servant's heart to take care of the page's work, you'll never make it as a scribe. As a page, you learn the foundational principles of knighthood. You're watching the knight. You're watching the loyalty of the scribe to the knight, or from the squire to the knight. You're watching these things and you're learning the job of the squire. And then as a squire, you're watching the knight and how he's faithful and loyal to the king. You understand that every time you get a promotion into something, that the next step, there's still somebody that you're answering to. I never get to a place where I'm not answering to somebody. Too many times, people will walk through, and this is something we've got to watch for as the church is growing. People will walk through the door, and all of a sudden they've got a heart to do something. They want to do it, but they're not willing to go through the steps to do it. They get offended, and then they leave. Hello? How many of y'all seen Karate Kid? Everybody in the world has seen the original Karate Kid. I want to learn karate. Okay. Mr. Miyagi, take him. Wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. I want to learn karate. Okay, you learn karate. Come here. Paint the fence. Mr. Miyagi, I'm not learning nothing. All this work gonna go wham, 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 wham. Oh, that's how that works. It's no different. In anything in God's kingdom, there is no such thing as put me at the top and I'll learn how to do the job. No, you learn from the bottom and you work your way up. That's just how it works. I didn't just show up one day and be a pastor. I didn't even want to be the pastor. I still don't. I won't trade it because I love what God's doing. I love the anointing. I will not trade what I experienced this morning. You could destroy me right now, and I would not give that up. There is nothing like the presence of God. There is nothing like experiencing His anointing. I've seen teachers that have paid the price and the anointing that's on their lives. And I see Mike O'Donnell. And I see people come in and I see how their lives are touched by an anointing of a man who has taken the time to study and to prepare. And I am totally blown away by people like that. I don't want people in this church to have the wrong idea, just show up and get given a position. It doesn't work that way. We've got some people that are in positions right now. And I've got positions that I need to fill. But I've got to wait till the people are ready to fill those positions. We've got people in positions right now that are capable of doing them, and that's why I put them there. But I can't just bring somebody through the door and not know them and put them into a spot. Why? Why can I not do that? Imagine for a moment you're the king. And you put a knight on a horse in his armor that just came in from being homeless or came in from outside, doesn't know the procedures of the kingdom, doesn't know what's that going to do to the kingdom? What if that knight doesn't have the integrity that's needed? What if that knight does not have the character that's needed? What if he is not tried and tested in battle? What if he doesn't know how to wield the sword and hold the shield while he's up on that mighty steed? What happens if he doesn't know how to hold the joust, the lance? What if he doesn't know how to hold the lance while he's riding that mighty steed? What if he doesn't know how to steer the horse with no hands? You ever notice how a knight doesn't hold the reins? What if that knight is standing there and the king's depending on him to do something and lives are at stake? Not just the king's life, the kingdom's life. Now you've got other people's lives involved. Am I going to put somebody on a horse that's like that? This is not something I can do. Because your lives and your loved ones' lives and your children's lives and your grandchildren's lives are all hanging in the balance. I need people that I know I can count on to pray. I need people that I know that I can count on that no matter what, they're going to be standing by the kingdom. Not by their own agenda. We can't have people being in here rogue. I want this. Okay, great, you want that. But what's God want? God told me. Red flag. I've been in this ministry for 20-some years. Not preaching, but in ministry. Serving in the kingdom of God. And I can tell you, I've heard His voice one time. Every other time, you know how He speaks to me? Right there. So when somebody says, I heard God, I'm very cautious about what they're saying. When I tell you I've heard God, this is where it's from. My wife will tell you. They'll tell me things, they'll be right, and I won't even listen to them until God shows me in here. And now I know I've got confirmation. That's my wife and my daughter, who have proven themselves over and over again. And I still won't, I'll listen to it, I'll hear it, but I will not act upon a single thing until I hear it from this. And God literally makes His word come alive to me. Does that make you special? No, He'll do the same thing for you. I ain't no different than any of y'all. But God will never go against or outside of His word. This is your guideline. This is your goalpost. So as new people come into the church, as things begin to happen in the church, we're going to need new leaders. Please, 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 volunteer to be a page. Now. Because in a little while, there's going to be places for squires, and there's going to be places for knights, and there's going to be places for teachers, and there's going to be places for people to work in ministry in the altars, and there's going to be there are places where people are needed for prayer. But if I can't trust you to do the little things, I will never trust you to do the big things. Amen. You can put that in your pipe and smoke it. I've got to know that I can trust you, that you're not going to be a rogue or a lone wolf, or that your injuries from another place aren't going to affect you here or affect somebody else. Because if you step in these altars and you go to pray for somebody and you're still hurting inside, you're going to minister out of your hurt, and it will affect the people that you're praying for. If you're teaching those little babies in the back and you're teaching them out of your hurt, out of your injury, if you're teaching them, they're going to be affected by the injury that you've got. You've got to be right and healed before I put you back there with the babies. Does this make sense? Are you understanding this? Do I seem intense? I hope I do, because this is absolutely vital. Do you want your children being ministered to by people that are only halfway or halfway healed or half anything? I don't. Why would you go to a brain surgeon that just got out of elementary school? Why would you do that? He'd gone 20 years now, he'd be a brain surgeon, but right now he's in elementary, 5th grade. He just got out of 5th grade. Woo, he's a brain surgeon. Is that what you want? Teaching? Is that, okay, so what happens is God gives you a desire to be that, but He requires you to start with that. Does that make sense? So take what His desire is and use it to grow, use it to take steps, use it to learn, use it to study. Let that be a motivation to get through all of this, because that doesn't come easy, and neither does all of this. Am I making sense? I've had people in my employ who walked in and instantly they wanted to run the joint. Oh no, that's not how we should do it this way. Oh really? I've been in this building for 5 years. You're going to walk through the door and tell me we need to do it your way all of a sudden? I'll listen to your ideas. I got no problems with listening to your ideas. And some of the ideas I get from these little rascals are good. And I say, that's a great idea. Let's use it. Sometimes the idea will be mediocre. And I'll say, I don't know. Let's try it. See how it works out. Let's just try it on one. No, we need to do it on all of them. No, let's try it on one. Instantly, I know we got a lone wolf. We got a rogue student. That student needs to be knocked down a peg or two. He got to be a student, but he didn't come up through the dirty diaper thing. Y'all starting to connect some dots with these previous messages? We need to be willing to learn the system that's being taught from people who are already there. We can try different things along the way. Listen, we're not preaching the same way we used to preach. Our music is a lot different than it used to be. You know, when we came through the doors here, they were still singing 150-year-old hymns. And there's nothing wrong with the 150-year-old hymns, except that, you know what? If I come over your house and I serve you, what's something? Somebody shout out their favorite food.
Pizza.
Okay, let's say pizza. Sounds great. So if I come over your house and I say, we're having pizza. All right. Guess what's for lunch the next day?
Pizza.
Leftover pizza. Okay. What's for dinner tomorrow night? Pizza! What's for lunch the next day? We got a surprise, it's leftover pizza. I don't care how you paint it. If it's the same old crap, it's the same old crap. You can put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. Third day comes along. What's for dinner?
Pizza.
How do you think God feels when He's heard these songs for the millionth time? Why do you think David says, I'm going to sing to the Lord a new song? Is there anything wrong with Amazing Grace? No, I love Amazing Grace. It's a great song. Do I sing it to God all the time? Heck no. How many times have we sung Amazing Grace in this church since you guys have been here? None. Know why? Because God's hearing it from everybody else. We don't need to be singing that. We need to be singing stuff that is touching the heart and the throne of God. Or we'll never have experiences like I had here this morning. You following me? Huh? Elizabeth goes and she prays about what to sing in the morning. She knows. She hears from God. You know what I do? This is a sign of a leader. I learned this recently. I didn't know that that's what this was. But that's what this is. I want you to, are you listening to me? Listen very carefully. Even though I am the pastor of the church, I have given Elizabeth charge over the worship. I have given Rex and Jackie charge over men's and women's ministries. I've given Marie charge over her department, which is the greeting. Guess what happens? When I'm up here playing my bass, I don't say, okay, I feel the Holy Ghost, I'm going to preach now. I don't move off of my bass until she says, okay, now. Why? Because I have given her authority. I need to let her exercise that authority. Do you know in bigger churches, there's a man who has a tablet, and he stands off to the side, and he's their production engineer. Do you know the pastor of the church won't get in that pulpit until that production engineer says, okay, it's your turn to go? And the production engineer, if the pastor's starting to run long, he's going to go like this, try to bring it together, bring it together. Guess what my daughter's doing? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. She's bring it in, Dad. Bring it in. And I have to yield to that. Why? Because where we're going is going to require a tremendous amount of discipline and order. Marie, you've been here for a little while. How many were in the service? Maybe a year or so ago, year and a half. Yeah. Yeah, we had Wednesday nights where there was 2. Inside of a very short period of time, God has multiplied this church, not added, multiplied. In a short period of time. You better buckle up. Because what was spoken by the Lord here this morning, I'm pointing to my wife because she was the mouthpiece, but that wasn't my wife. That what was spoken here this morning, we need to be ready for this. Amen. So Leadership 101 is learn how to follow first. Follow instructions. Yes, come up with new ideas because your ideas are what's going to make this church revolutionary. So please bring your ideas. If we don't use them, don't get offended. Maybe it's not time for us to use that idea yet. It might not be for 6 months down the road, or it might be for a different part of the ministry that you're not in, and you just got something from the Lord, and we don't know what it's for yet. So please, if you got an idea, don't get offended if that idea does not get used. Amen. I'm just saying. It bugs me when I see people get offended. Then they never bring any more ideas. No. Way wrong answer. It's a totally immature way to go. Bring your ideas. Give them to your department head. Let your department head chew on it for a little while. They might bring it back and they may say, you know what, I got an idea. Melissa, this happens with me and Elizabeth all the time. She'll say, Dad, we need to do this. No. Not right now. A week and a half later, I walk in, I got an idea from the Lord. Yeah. I just said that last week. It happens all the time. Sometimes a leader has to chew on it. But leaders are disciplined. They don't make changes easy. But when they make them, they're made. You follow me? Okay, so don't be offended if your leader says, no, it's okay. Go look for another idea. Look, I'm telling you, most of the time, if it's a good idea, if it's something God gave you, that leader's going to come around, get smacked, and then come back out and say, I've got an idea. And use your idea. Don't worry about it. There's something called being a second fiddle. Y'all know what a second fiddle is? See, the guy that plays the Stradivarius, that's a real nice fiddle. He's up there and he gets, and then there's the harmony fiddle or something else. Somebody right nearby. That's the second fiddle. The second fiddle accents the main fiddle. It doesn't want any of the glory. It just needs to make it sound better. That's your job as leaders in the church and as people who are working with the leaders. Don't worry about whether you get glory or not, because that's your testing ground. If you're there to get the glory, you're there for the wrong reason. Ooh, feel that? That was powerful. That shook the building. Oh. Wow. I'd like to think it was preaching, but I think it was something outside. Was this helpful to you? First, learn how to follow. Then learn how to teach somebody to follow. And then when God's ready for you, He will exalt you. Do not exalt yourself. Do not push yourself into a position. Don't do any of that stuff. Let God bring you to where you need to be. The first thing you need to do is right where you're sitting in your church seat right now. You just be the best you that you can be. Just be the best you that you can be. If you see something that needs done, you know what? Clean it. You know what's a tremendous help for us? When people jump, I get totally thrilled when I see the young people. When we're having like a dinner at the church, Elizabeth will grab a couple of the young ladies and one of the young men, and they'll go in there and they'll start cleaning everything up. That's somebody that knows how to serve. Guess whose attention just got God? You just got my attention. Now, I'm not one that likes to look and see a flash in the pan where today you do it and then next week you're gone. Because we've had that. Ellen and I never stopped doing what we did. We made sure the church was clean and secure before we left the church, and we locked up, and that was it. We left. We went to those same churches. You know what's sad? We went to those same churches where we served and went on for events that they've had. And you walk into the bathrooms, and you know what? The bathrooms are atrocious. They smell bad. And we know right away nobody has picked up the torch. Nobody's picked up the baton. And you know what? Maybe that was some of our fault. Maybe because we wanted the position and we weren't willing to teach somebody else. Why do you think I'm teaching you guys the way that I'm teaching you today? We weren't willing to pass that baton on to somebody else. Come on, why don't you come over and help us? We'll clean the bathrooms before we go. Okay, we'll just make it a fun time. And you know, how fun can it be cleaning the toilet? Well, it depends. Sometimes it can be really fun. It depends on your attitude while you're doing it. If you're looking at it and it's drudgery, then it's not going to be fun. If you're looking at it and you're saying, wow, this is God's house and I am doing something for the Lord, you're excited about it, guess what? You're going to be there a while. You teach other people how to have the same attitude about what they're doing and take pride in what they're doing. To have the spirit of excellence. And then you bring it around and turn it over to them while you go and do something else for the Lord. Isn't that great? How all that works? We didn't know. We were so green. And I don't mean any pun intended. I say green. No pun intended. We just wanted to do something for God. And we didn't care what it was. And so they would have these big events, and it would be Ellen and I and our family that would clean up afterwards, and sometimes John and Judy and other people there, whoever was there. So, sometimes we had help, sometimes we didn't. But we wouldn't wait until it was done. It's God's house. It's the kingdom. It was all about how the kingdom looked. How's things going to look when people come through the door? Does everything look nice outside? Does everything look nice inside? I'm going to stop there. But if you want to be a knight, and it doesn't matter if you're male or female, you can be a knight. But it takes the right heart. And you have to learn the heart by being a scribe or a squire. And you learn how to be a squire by being a page. And that's the stepping stones to becoming a leader in the church. How many of you have your cards? You have one? Just one. How many of you have your name cards? Your invite cards? Have you got them filled out? Not finished? Make sure you bring it next week if we're praying over them next week. If you're not going to take the time to pray for these people and invite them, don't waste the ink. Kid you not. It's not that the ink's that valuable, but don't waste your time. If you're willing to invite the people and really encourage them to come, because this will be the best event this church has put on yet. It's going to be very, very nice. The church looks awesome. We've remodeled bathrooms. We've done new lighting. We've done all kinds of fun stuff. The platform looks absolutely wicked. I mean, that's awesome. Oh, no, you need a second card? Anybody need a second card? Okay, take a second card. By all means, listen. There's a church that I was at yesterday, and one of the pastors was from a church outside of Jacksonville. And I talked with him about his event. His church, listen. His church was running around 40, 45, sometimes 50 on the outside. They did this event. They did the same thing we're doing right now, but they did it in the fall, and they just did a fall festival outside. That's all they did. They had an old lawn tractor that was dragging basically wagons around and giving the kids rides in these wagons going around the church and all that. They had them lined up for hours for the wagon rides. They had just real basic games. They had the ski ball or whatever they call it. That's where you throw the ball and it goes up and then goes in one of the holes. They had one of those there. They had what do you call it? Snow cones and some other stuff. I mean, it was just basic stuff, just like we've done here before. But they made a point of inviting people to come to it. Now, this church of 40 to 50 people had over 400 people show up. And they experienced growth that day. 400 people. 400 people showed up at their event. Are we going to see that? I have no idea. It doesn't depend on me. It depends on what you do, and what you do, and all of you. It depends on what you guys do. Fill out your cards. Pray over them. Listen, I would suggest you even pray before you write your names down. God, who would you like to see here?
Yeah.
Who wants to be here but doesn't know they want to be here? Who wants a change in their lives but doesn't know that the church can help them? Who is it, Lord, that can help? We can help because of this. Bring them in. People need to hear the story of the gospel. They don't need to hear about Santa Claus. They've had Santa Claus for a lot of years and it ain't done no good. Ain't no change ever happened. They need to hear the story of Jesus Christ. He came so that we could have more in life. Okay? That was the whole purpose of him coming. So fill out your cards, pray over those, bring them in. We are going to lay them out here in the altars next week. And we're going to pray over them. And I want you to make sure you invite them. I want you to follow up and encourage, tell them, look, I got a part in this. I'm really excited. Just come on out. You're going to have a good time. We're doing two programs. One of them is Christmas on the 22nd. The other one is Christmas Eve. The Christmas Eve one is going to have hot chocolate. No, maybe we don't want hot chocolate. I like hot chocolate. Elizabeth back there, both hands up. We like hot chocolate. By the way, those little hot chocolate muggy things, I took it close. That was cool looking. Just wanted to tell you. She made blue mugs out of marshmallows, big marshmallows, and with a keen handle and little chocolatey things on. It was cute. I liked it. I didn't see it at first. I'm thinking, okay, well, it was really nice. A lot of skill in this church. So bring your names in. Let's pray for them. Let's bring some people in here that need to be ministered to, so that the power of God that moves in this place doesn't get wasted. Let's do something new. In Jesus' name. Father, I thank you this morning for the pouring that you did this morning. Lord, pouring out like you did blew me away. My knees finally stopped knocking. How awesome are you, Lord, that you would take a minute just to bless me, just to pour out. I love you, Lord. Lord, bless your people. Even while they're sitting on the toilet, Lord, I don't care where, in the shower, I don't care, picking weeds out of their flower beds. I don't care where they're watching television, sitting in the living room with a cup of tea. Wherever they're at, Father God, bless them, pour out your Spirit upon them. Let their minds be amazed by what you do. Just show them how good you are. And I pray, Lord, that you plant in them a desire to serve your house. In Jesus' name. Amen and amen. God bless you.